Everyone, so today we're going to look at this very recent question called Shashliks from CF round 1031 div 2, right? So the question says that you're the owner of a very popular Shashlik restaurant, and what you do is basically you grill uh, these things, and uh, but while grilling there's a peculiarity, which is that after cooking each Shashlik, what happens is that the temperature drops. Okay, now the point is that there are two types of these shashliks, and there are two conditions for them. So for the first kind of shashlik, like before cooking, at least 8 degrees of temperature should be there, and after cooking the drop in temperature observed is x, right? So like if let's say the bound is 3, so you at least need to have 3 degree or above, and let's say if it was 3 degree and if x was 2, so after cooking your temperature would go to 1 degree, right? Okay, now there's this second type of shashlik which has a bound b, right, that you at least need b, and then y is the drop, right? So and you're given an initial temperature called k. So the inputs are basically k, a, b, x and y. So the question is that you have to determine the maximum total number of portions of shashlik that can be cooked. Okay, definitely you can cook both types, right? Okay, so if you just take a test case, let's say we take this one, that the initial temperature is 28, the bound for the first one is 14, then 5, then 2, then 4. Okay, so tell me one thing, which one would you try to cook first? So see, this is ending first and this is smaller, right? So like if my temperature drop is smaller, tell me one thing, so after cooking, if I cook a shashlik of the first type, right, so after cooking my temperature will be 26 and I'll have cooked one shashlik, and if I do this then my temperature will be 24 and I'll have cooked only one shashlik, right? So basically that means that somehow I need to take that particular shashlik first, which has a lower temperature drop, right? Because definitely the answer for this would be lesser than this, right? Like with 26 I can definitely cook more number of shashliks than I can cook with 24, right? So here the idea is, what we are doing is we are first cooking 8 shashliks of the first type, and when it like goes, because you can understand, like if 28 first, then 26, then 24, then 22, then 20, then it would go to how much, 18, then 16, then 14, and as it's 14, so like the temperature should be greater than equal to 14, right? So basically you can cook one more and now it will go to 12. So how many have you cooked? One here, one here, one here, four here, and one here, right? And then after cooking all those 8 shashliks, 12 is the temperature that you are at, right? Okay, now when you are at 12, then what happens? So you have to cook this of the second type, and then this is 5, this is 4, so it will be nothing but like we'll go to 8 and you will have cooked one here, right? Then we'll go to 4 and you will have cooked one more here, but then at 4 you cannot cook because 5 is the limit, right? So the answer should be like 2 of the second type and 8 of the first type. So basically you have cooked total 10 shashliks, right? So what is the core idea of the question? The core idea is that like whichever is smaller among x and y, you definitely take that, right? And you see that how many can you cook, right? Now let's say if you are cooking the one with a smaller temperature drop, but if the bound of that is greater, so you will only be able to cook certain shashliks of that type, right? And you have to cook some of the other type as well, right? Now if x is less than y and also your a is less than b, this is a very nice case, where basically you will cook everything of this first type, right? But that is not necessary, you can also have a greater than b, so we'll just take that case. So basically you will always first cook that shashlik which has a lesser amount of which has a lesser amount of temperature drop, right? So what we'll do first, we will ensure that, let's say, like whatever is the first type, right, we'll always try to cook that by just swapping, right? So the point is that if x is less than y, then so we don't need to think, we'll definitely start with the first type, right? We'll definitely start with cooking the first type. But if that is not the case, right, then what we'll do, like if x is greater than equal to y, if this is the case, then we will simply swap x and y, and we will also swap a comma b, right? Okay, so then what we are doing is, now see, I know that x is smaller, so I'll first cook Shashlik of the first type. So how many can I cook? So we have seen, for like when we started from 28 and the, like this was set to 14 and the drop was 2, we could cook 8 Shashlik. So it is always somewhat like this, that 28 minus 14 upon like this drop, that is 2 plus 1, right? And definitely you're taking the GIF of this, right? And like division will already give you GIF, so I don't need to apply it separately, right? So the point being that I'm always cooking k minus a upon x, which is the drop, right, plus 1. So this is always the number of shashliks. Right now, if you see that after cooking these many shashliks, you are still able to cook more. What does that mean? That you have not cooked all of them, uh, like at the first go, right? So then you can cook more, right? Okay, and after this, what you will do, you will basically decrement k. So you will take some variable, let's say y, not y. Okay, chalo, let's take z, and then we will basically do that, z into x. We will decrement our k by this, that k minus equal to z into x. And if you find that we are still able to decrement, right, that basically your k is still greater than equal to 0, then what we will do, we will further decrement it, and now it will be k minus b upon y plus 1, right? So we will add this to our answer, and we had already added this part, right? So then you will just see out your answer. I hope you understood the question. Thank you.